Hello there guys. Today I have an F1 build for you, and if I'm correct I don't think I've done an F1 car since August, so it's about time I did another one. Previously I've built the McLaren MP4 which was used in the 1988 F1 season. For the 1989 season McLaren developed the successor, cunningly enough called the MP4 which was used for the first half of that season. And then for the second half of 1989 and for all of 1990 they developed the MP4 which is the model I have here. And judging by the decals in this kit, this is the 1990 version. Now I actually have two versions of this kit. This is the first one, which I believe is the original release from 1991, in that kind of classic Tamiya white box. And you can tell it's old because although it doesn't have it on the box art, it does include the Marlboro tobacco advertising decals inside. And the other boxing I have is this more recent version, I think from 2009, with the black box, and this includes the driver and engineer set, which is really just this separate Tamiya set included with the kit. The reason I have both of these kits is because my original plan was to build one as the McLaren and then do a conversion job to make the other one this Ligier JS33, also from the 1990 season. I'm not particularly a Ligier fan, it's just that these conversion decals were available, so I thought I'd buy them and give it a go. However, I'm not going to be doing that in this video because I realise that despite what this diagram shows you here on the decals, the conversion job is a lot more involved. So that will have to be a video of its own in the future. If we have a quick look inside the boxes, we can see the difference between the time periods of when they were released. So as I said, in the earlier release the instructions include the advertising decals for tobacco. So of course the plastic between the two kits is the same. But in the older release here we have quite a large decal sheet which includes both tobacco and the non-tobacco advertising decals, all of which now are too old and too yellow to be used. And they include the decals for the Marlboro orange that goes on the bodywork. Whereas if we look inside the newer kit, it's a much smaller decal sheet, only the non-tobacco advertising. That can still be accurate of course because the car did race in some countries with those decals. And in this case we don't get the decals for the bodywork. That doesn't bother me because I would paint it anyway. It did mean I had to buy a separate decal sheet for the tobacco decals. This is from Museum Collection. Their website's a little bit clunky, but their service is fantastic. I've ordered directly from their website in Japan, and their products have arrived in the UK very quickly indeed. And they're quite sweet actually as well. When you order something, they'll send you a photo of them outside the post office, package in hand with all your details on, as proof of postage, which I think is quite fun. It just shows that sort of extra customer care, I think. Anyway, on to the build. I find the process for F1 cars is very much similar. It's really removing as many parts as you can from the sprue, cleaning them up and building up sub-assemblies, and typically they are divided, in my experience, into sub-assemblies that get painted in X18 semi-gloss black to represent the carbon, and aluminium to represent aluminium parts. So while I work on that, I will tell you a little bit about the history of the MP4 So for the 1990 season, Alain Prost had left McLaren and headed towards Ferrari, in no small part because of his feud with Ayrton Senna. Or perhaps more accurately, Senna's feud with Prost. Senna stayed with McLaren as their number one driver and was joined by Austrian driver Gerhard Berger. As expected, the MP4 was very successful, and by the end of round 9, the German Grand Prix, Senna in the McLaren and Prost in the Ferrari both had 4 wins, with Senna slightly ahead on points positions. Berger in the second McLaren had scored 5 podiums and a number of point finishes during that time, putting McLaren in a strong footing for the Constructors Championship. Unfortunately, poor old Nigel Mansell in the second Ferrari had not had much success. The championship very much came to a head at the penultimate round, the Japanese Grand Prix. Senna took pole position with Prost second, but a previous agreement by the race stewards to move pole position from the dirty right-hand side of the track to the clean left-hand side of the track was reneged upon before the race. This meant that Alain Prost in second actually had an advantage because he was on the cleaner side of the track. Apparently this decision was made by Jean-Marie Balestre, the FISA president, and of course there were suggestions this was a political move given that both Balestre and Prost were Frenchmen. Senna of course was infuriated by this decision, and knowing that he would win the World Championship if Prost did not finish the race, he deliberately collided with Prost at the first corner and took them both out. This would be Senna's second World Championship. After winning his third championship at the same race the following year, he openly admitted that he deliberately collided with Prost this year, and he even suggested that it had been payback for their equally infamous crash in 1989, also at Suzuka, which had handed the championship to Prost. Either way, McLaren won the Constructors Championship, Senna won the Drivers' Championship, and as of the start of 2026, the MP4 5B was the last McLaren to win both the Constructors' Championship and have their drivers finish first and second in the World Drivers' Championship in the same season. So there's a little random nerd fact for you. Senna of course would stay with McLaren for 1991, 92 and 93. Prost stayed with Ferrari for 91, although it was not a successful season, and in fact he was sacked ahead of the final rounds in Australia that year. And if you watch my channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a fan of F1 cars from this era, and I do have a few more to build, including a range of McLarens. I've got the 1991 MP4-6, which is a Tamiya kit. I've got the 92 MP4-7, which is a Fujimi kit, and the 1993 MP4-8, which is also a Tamiya kit. So do look out for those at some point in the future. Anyway, back to the build, and as I've been talking you can see that I built up a large part of the engine, and also the cockpit and the front suspension. The design of these McLaren cars means that the suspension attaches directly to this carbon fibre tub rather than to the outer bodywork on the other Tamiya models, which just makes it that little bit easier to connect and allows you to glue it in place before you apply the paint. These pieces always require quite a lot of force to put into place, and to be honest I would have been better off probably doing it before I painted anything, because the paint would be unlikely to jam it in position, and it might have been ever so slightly easier. The cockpit fits directly onto the floor. The reason I didn't attach that already is because a part of the floor at the rear needs that aluminium heat shielding, and so it was much easier to mask that when the cockpit was separate. The exhausts are always something that I find a bit difficult on these Tamiya kits. Getting the angle of the four pipes correct so they fit into the engine block but also go out the correct direction at the rear is always a bit fiddly. Once I was fairly happy with the position, I gave it a coat of this tungsten steel colour. This is from Galeri Metal Colours. I know the exhausts probably weren't made of tungsten steel, but I do quite like the shade. I'm not always one for following instructions step by step exactly, but the rear section of the suspension here is one where you typically have to do that, because you always have this side panel of the bodywork which fits in between the suspension arms, and you have to put it in at the right point or it won't go in later. The colour I've used for this is the Tamiya Rattlecan TS36, which is fluorescent red. I know there are better matches out there. I know some companies make matched paint for the Marlboro orangey red colour, but I quite like this colour. The Tamiya Rattlecan paints go down really well, and I'd already used this on my previous McLaren, so I didn't want too much of a jump from one to the next. It was then a case of attaching the engine and exhaust to the floor pan, then the radiators, and most of that internal work there is finished. There's just a little bit of suspension to bring everything together at the rear. For the brake discs, I painted them initially in aluminium from Tamiya, and then use the gallery metal colours over the top for the details. For the main bodywork, we have the choice between having the side pod walls blanked off, like in this reference image here, or opened up to expose the radiator, which is what I've gone for. I couldn't find exactly which configuration was used at which races, and there seemed to be another couple of configurations as well which aren't included in the kit. But at the very least I wanted to show off some of that radiator detail since I painted it. Now you can see here I've made a bit of a mistake. I initially primed this in the Gallery white primer, which is an acrylic based paint, and then without thinking about it I sprayed this Tamiya TS26 pure white, which is a very hot lacquer paint, and I think that's why we have this slightly orange pure ripple effect here, meaning I needed to sand the whole thing down. But nevertheless, that's what I did, and I went back over it again with some more TS26. I then masked the heck out of that bodywork in the appropriate places and gave very, very light coats of that TS36. There's a bit of a balancing act here, because if you put it on too thick, it will start to run under the masking tape, but if you leave it too long, the masking tape itself starts to rise up and allow the paint to go underneath it. Nevertheless, once I removed the masking tape, the result was not too bad, and my light passes meant at least I didn't have a big step between the white and the red. Although somehow I missed this section here and on the roll hoop there, and had to gently go back over with some X2 gloss white to hide it, and that took a lot of individual separate passes to cover that red. While that was drying, I got on to my favourite part of F1 car kits, which is the decals. A lot of people don't realise that because the bodywork comes off this car, we have sponsor decals on the carbon fibre tub as well. And luckily for me, Museum Collection included those in their decal sheet. Senna, of course, is the most famous driver of this car, but back in the day I was always a bit of a fan of Gerhard Berger as well, and so I decided to do the car with his name and number. Having used them a lot myself when I work at circuits, I always appreciate it when the decal manufacturers include the red and blue electrical cut-off switch for the marshals. And then one single decal turns this from looking like an incomplete model into looking like an F1 car. What a livery this is. The rear wing attaches directly to the engine block rather than to the external bodywork, so at this stage I still hadn't built it up, but I put the decals on. For the side mirrors we do get these rather small reflective stickers. They just look a bit undersized really, don't they, but I put them on anyway. And then finally the tyres. As always they have a seam line around them, which some 150 grit sandpaper takes care of. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this kit does include the F1 engineer and driver set with it. I've got a few of these now and I always want to use them, but the thing that holds me back is the decals. Usually they're quite old, so they fall apart when you whack them in some water, and that's particularly true for the ones that go around the helmet, which of course have to go around a curved surface and are much harder to apply. So originally I did start to build this as the Senna car and get the Senna figure built up, but I just couldn't get the helmet done, and although I was able to hand paint the stripes, the rest of the decals just fell apart too. So I think what I need to do next time I make an order from, say, Museum Collection, I need to just order a couple of their driver helmet and suit decal sets, because I've got so many of these engineer sets and eventually they'll just go to waste basically. Anyway, with the driver and engineer project put to the side, my McLaren MP4 5B was ready.
With Gerhard Berger on the last lap of the Mexican Grand Prix, with Alain Prost seemingly going to win it, and Mansell going round the outside. Incredible! Up into second place. He's regained that second place. And we are riding now with Gerhard Berger in the McLaren, and we're coming out of the Curva Grande down to the second chicane, the Roger. I wish we'd been able to stay with him, because we would have seen ahead of him Ayrton Senna. Here is the Brazilian. Lesmo 1. 130 miles an hour and building.
Yes, Berger was particularly quick through the two Lesmos. It pulls him right up on Senna's tail each time with the help of the toe. And Berger, to me, looks at the moment the quicker, marginally quicker of the two McLarens. And Prost seems to have got just a little bit closer.
Prost and Senna have made up their feud now, and we are waiting for the start of this 53-lap race. On the left is Ayrton Senna, on the right is Alain Prost, behind Senna is Mansell, behind Prost is Berger. The grid is clear, the lights go, and Senna sprints away, but Alain Prost takes the lead. It's happened. Alain Prost has taken the advantage. Senna is trying to go through on the inside, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. Senna goes off at the first corner, but what has happened to Prost? He has gone off too. Well, that is amazing, but I fear absolutely predictable.
Yes, and that makes Ayrton Senna world champion this year. So Ayrton Senna now with Prost not finishing the race quite clearly. He's out of his car, stuck in the gravel pit. That, I'm afraid to say, is the end of this year's Drivers' World Championship in favour of Ayrton Senna. There's Prost running back.
And there we go, guys. That was my McLaren Honda MP4 5B from the 1990 Formula 1 season. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know that F1 builds are not necessarily my audience's favourite builds, but I really do like them, and I know also there is a good chunk of viewers who really do like them. I've got a few different kits in progress, as you might imagine. My next video is probably going to be a review video, but my next build video is quite likely to be something a lot more modern than even this 1990 F1 car. And it won't be an F1 car, it will be a military subject. So do stay tuned if that interests you. I would like to say thank you to all of you for watching, and special thanks to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members for their ongoing support of the channel. It is massively appreciated. Until next time, take care and have fun modelling.